Hi guys, welcome to today's video. It is around mid-March at this point, and I've only read 2 books off of my physical TBR for the month, so I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to do a tackle my TBR kind of video where I'm going for the next week just focus on books that are on my physical TBR for the month. I don't know what I'm reading. That's how I feel about this book. So I did end up reading 2 books off of my TBR already, but I do still have these 5 left. So I do want to focus on these for the next week. My goal is to read like maybe 3 or 4 of them, maybe if I have the time. But these are the ones that I'm going to be focusing on. I'm not going to pick which ones I'm going to read. I think I'm just going to kind of like see which one at the moment kind of calls to me. But I do think that I want to start off with either Frederick Bachman's Beartown or Kennedy Ryan's This Could Be Us. These 2 books are like highly anticipated for me. I have been wanting to read these for a while now, and they're both very different. So this one is obviously fiction and this one is a romance. So they are very different, but both of these, I don't know, both of these are speaking to me. They're both also part of a series. So this one would indicate that I'm starting one, and this one would be I'm continuing one. But Frederick Bachman's Beartown, I think, follows like a hockey team in Alaska. So wintry vibes. At least I associate like hockey with like winter because it's cold. I don't know. Maybe that's just like weird of me, but I think this is like a wintry vibe book. So I do think I want to get to this one maybe sooner than later because like I said, it's mid-March. We're almost in spring. So am I going to want to keep reading about cold in the springtime? I don't know. But this one is an option. And This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan is the second book in the Skyland series. It's following Soledad, and Judah, I think, is the main male character's name. But we got glimpses of Soledad in the first book. Each of the books follows one of the 3 best friends. So the first book was following Yasmin, the second book is Soledad, and the third book is going to be following Hendrix. So super excited. I think the third one also comes out this year. So I do want to get to this one soon so that I'm ready for the third one when it comes out. I think it's June, but I could be wrong. But yeah, so still deciding between these 2 books. Either way, I think for sure this week I'm going to get to both of these because these are highly anticipated for me, so I cannot wait to read them. But yes, the other options are George Orwell's Animal Farm, Raven Kennedy's Guild, and Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club. So we'll see what I'm feeling. I do kind of want to get to this one too because I want to know what it's about. I've heard so many people reference it and say that it's like honestly just like such a great read, and it's also super short, so this one would be perfect. So I do think I really want to pick up this one, and I'm not sure about these 2 because I just don't know about this one. And this one, I had a friend that said she read it and she enjoyed it. She said it's just like kind of like a cozy mystery. So I thought that could be fun. But I don't know, we'll see. But for sure, I will be choosing one of these 2 books to start with. I'm just not sure which. We'll see which ones I start with, but stay tuned for some updates. Hey guys, I wanted to come on here to do a quick little update. I did decide to pick up This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. I am currently on part 2, so chapter 13, so I'm a little over 115 pages in. And so far I'm really liking this. Kennedy Ryan just knows how to write a story. She puts so much emotion and feeling into her stories, and it's just reminding me why I loved her first book so much. That book was just so good, and the writing and the emotion and the feelings and how real the characters feel, you're getting that from this book too. And she just knows how to write characters, and I'm loving this so far. The story is just like heartbreaking, and just you're just rooting for the people though. So this one is following Soledad and Judah, And the story is essentially everything that's happening so far is Soledad is going through like this thing with her husband, who we are learning is going to soon become her ex-husband, and Judah is kind of like a key part in it, but he's been really good about helping her out and stuff like that. I don't want to say what the issue is that leads to her separation from her husband, just because it isn't on the back of the book, so I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't read it yet. But something happens between her and her husband, and now she's kind of got to figure out life and this new transition period with her and her children, and also just like introducing a new romance into her life. We're just getting into the story, learning about the issues, and kind of like seeing how Soledad is going to take her steps into becoming this new independent woman without her husband that she's been married to for like practically half her life. So it's such a interesting story. We already have seen the other characters from the first book, Yasmin and Hendrix, and I absolutely love their friendship. It's just so heartwarming. And there was a quote in here that I haven't highlighted because I also have it downloaded on my Kindle since it's on Kindle Unlimited. So I'm switching between the book and my Kindle, but I have it highlighted on my Kindle. And there was a quote in here where she mentions what female friendships are like and how they're like a true love, and something about that quote just hit so hard, and I'm loving the writing, the story, and everything like that. So far this is really fun. I feel like it's going to be at least, I'm not getting 5-star feels from it, but it's definitely going to be like a high 4-star for sure, I think. But I'm still like very fresh into it. It's a little under 400 pages, so we've got a ways to go. I will come back with more updates if I don't just binge read this before I have any updates. Hey guys, I am back with an update. So I did end up finishing This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan, and I truly love this series. The amount of emotion and just like heart that goes into these stories, you're going to feel every emotion. You're going to feel anger, sadness, happiness, like you're going to feel it all reading this series. This book, following Soledad's like journey, was just so empowering. It's almost like, you know, you got the whole message behind loving yourself before you could love someone else, and just learning how to be on your own, especially since she did to have to go through a divorce and everything that goes on in this. So I really enjoyed this. Soledad's story was just really nice to read, and I loved all the cultural representation in there, and it was just so nice. I loved it. The only thing I really didn't like in this story was the romance. It just felt too insta-lovey for me. I am not one for insta-love. I like not necessarily a slow burn where it's like, you know, we're 75% in and now we're finally getting to the romance, but I do like there to be build-up. And in this case, there was no build-up. Like, he sees her and immediately is like in love. And the story literally just follows him essentially always having had a thing for her. And that's not a big deal in some cases, but in this case, I'm like, you're in love with somebody you don't even really know. I would have liked it to have been more developed. I feel like with what the story was and about self-love and just like her exploring that aspect of her life, having an insta-lovey connection kind of just felt too contrasty to what the story was overall, especially being Soledad's story. So the romance, I just didn't vibe with it, and because of that, this is sitting at a 4-star for me. I just wanted the romance to match the theme of the story, and I feel like it didn't really match. Not that I didn't like Judah, I did like his character, I just didn't like the romance. It was just not my favorite romance. I definitely think Before I Let Go's romance, and I think it's because it was a second chance romance in the first book, it flowed a little bit better, the connection made more sense, but overall, I did just like love this story. I loved Soledad. I loved her kids. The friends. I just love this friend group so much. They're just so funny. Hendrix, I cannot wait for Hendrix's story. I feel like it's going to be the best. Hendrix is a vibe, and I cannot wait to read her story because I think it's going to be great. But yeah, love this. Love seeing the friends. Love seeing Yasmin from the first book too. And yeah, I love this series. Kennedy Ryan just knows how to write a story, and there were some quotes in here. There was one quote in particular about the friendship that really just got me, and this is what it said. There aren't enough sonnets for friendship, not enough songs for the kind of love not born of blood or body, but of time and care. They are the ones that we choose to laugh and cry and live with. When lovers come and go, friends are the ones who remain. We are each other's constant. And something about that quote just hits so hard because, one, it describes friendship to the T, but also, like, it's the embodiment of the friendship in this series. These three women have that kind of friendship, and it's just so nice to see, and it's so true, and I loved it. I love this story. I just didn't love the romance, so for that it was a 4-star for me, but I cannot wait to continue the series because Kennedy Ryan just knows what she's doing with this series. So I finished that one, and that one was great. And I actually ended up asking my boyfriend because I was stuck between which book I wanted to pick up next. So I was between Beartown and Guild. And I read the description of both books to my boyfriend, and he actually said to go with Guild, which I thought was kind of crazy. But he said it sounded weird, and that's kind of why he went with it. So I'm reading Guild, and I don't know what to think. I am very nervous. I hope I at least enjoy it a little bit because so many people have told me that the series is really good. And it's just having to get through the first one that I know a lot of people say is not that great. That's just a milestone I'm gonna have to get over, and it's okay. We're gonna get over it because this is her next book, and I'm actually really excited because, like I said, this book has been on my TBR forever, and I'm really glad that it's finally gonna get off. So I don't want to say I'm excited to get to this. I don't even know the word, but we're getting to it, and we'll see how it goes because I'm nervous, but there's a word I want to say that I can't think of right now to explain how I feel going into the story, but I just can't think of it. So anyway, let's see how this goes, and I will definitely be back with updates as I'm reading this. Hey guys, I am back with some thoughts, I guess. I'm more than halfway through. I'm about 215 pages in. And I gotta tell you, I don't even really get the point of this book. I feel like nothing is really happening. Yes, there was like a war thing that kind of happened, but it took up like maybe a chapter. And that's kind of been it. We have no world building. We have really nothing. Like, they keep dropping little hints of things. There's like, I think 6 or 7 kingdoms, and they all have like this peace treaty, and one of the kingdoms is going to be attacked, and we get that kind of information, and we get information about the attack or whatever. But I don't know, this book is, I don't even know how to talk about it because I feel like nothing's really happening. It starts off with like a very graphic like entrance into it, and I think it makes sense when we find out who our main character is. So we are following Auren, who, and I hope I'm saying her name right. I read it as Auren, but we're following Auren, who is the king's favored, his precious. She is somebody he rescued, is how she keeps saying it. Like, she says he saved her, gave her like a life out of this, like, essentially like the slums, and now she's his favored. He gold touched her, so literally everything about her is gold. Her hair, her body, like everything about her is gold. I think the only thing not gold, she says, is like her eyes and her teeth. And she is what they refer to in this world as a saddle. Like, the king's saddles is how they refer to him, and it's essentially a person that the king can have a good time with, and he has multiple saddles, and that's how it starts. It literally opens up with just like us learning about this, and then all of a sudden they try to bring in some politics, but even then it just felt like it was put in there to give this story some kind of plot. I don't know what I'm reading. That's how I feel about this book. I have no idea what I'm reading. I feel like there's absolutely no point to this story? Was the point this whole war? Like, where's the world building? Why do I care about this war or like, war feels like a stretch, but like, why do I care about this war? And like, I do still have 200 pages to go, so maybe things will pick up. But so far, I just don't even get why I'm supposed to care about what is happening in this story. I don't care about King Midas at all. Don't care about his character. Auren, I kind of feel a little something towards her, but even then I feel like there's just not, like, I don't know enough about her to feel like I care about what's happening to her. I feel like right now it's sitting at like a 3-star because am I flying through this? Yes, like it's a very easy read, like there's nothing complex about it, but like I said, there really isn't like a plot in my opinion, which I think is why. I don't know how to feel about this. And I guess I kind of figured I would feel this way about it because of all the things that I have heard about the first book. And a lot of people rave that the series gets better. If you go into this thinking that this is a fantasy that's going to really work your brain, you're going to learn a lot of information about this world, like, no. All I know is that apparently sometimes people are born with magic and some people aren't. And that was just kind of like mentioned. It's not even elaborated on. And I just, like, even Auren apparently like has some type of magic, but they tell us nothing about it. Those are my thoughts. I don't know if any of that made sense. If it made sense, I don't know. I don't know what's happening in this. I do hope that I can finish this really quick though, because like I said, it is reading a little bit fast. This was probably really bad update, but that's my update. I'm gonna keep reading and see what the heck happens because I'm just so confused. Depending on how the next 200 pages go, I really don't know that I want to continue this because nothing about this is like pulling me in. Even like it's supposed to be, I think this is supposed to be a romantasy. And nothing about this really feels like that. So like maybe there's another character that comes in and that's the love interest because I'm not really vibing anything between Auren and King Midas. That's my update. I'm gonna keep reading and I'll probably update you by the end of this because I really don't know that I'm gonna have anything to add to the gibberish that I just finished spewing. So I'll be back with when I finish this to kind of like give you my final thoughts. I'm back and I did finish Guild last night. Guys, I don't know what I think about this book. I literally don't know what this book is about still. I feel so confused. I feel like this was kind of dark. The way they talk about women and how women are portrayed in this is just insane. Women are just sex toys, essentially. Like, that's what it feels like. Women don't have a say. They don't have power. Even King Midas, literally, all he does is sleep around with women and toy with women, and he's all about business being with the men, and the women are for fun. And it's just like, I don't know. This book was just kind of all over the place, and I still don't know what the plot of this was. What was the storyline? Obviously, we have like these 6 kingdoms and apparently 7 kingdoms. I don't know. There are these kingdoms and we have gods mentioned. We have fae mentioned. We have people who are not fae but have powers. But nobody talks about what power, like nobody talks about anything in this. There's one section where we actually get information into like the fae aspect of this. And like that's about it. We really don't learn anything from this book aside from the fact that there's like 6 kingdoms. There's 3 kings that were introduced to. We haven't even touched the other 2 there's 3 kingdoms. We haven't even talked about those. We know nothing about them. I know there's like this hierarchy about like people who have powers and people who don't have powers. And it's also powers being like one thing, powers being like you could do, like what the heck are these powers? There's just no information given. And I was talking to somebody who had read the series and they're like, no, like this first book is so different from all the others in the series. And it's just like, how did you even decide to continue the series after finishing this one? because I don't see it. So I am kind of curious. I think I might pick up the second book just because I'm curious to see that switch. I will say the ending did get me something, the twist at the end I was not expecting, and I'm interested more in that, and I'm hoping we get more information in the next book about that than we do about absolutely anything else that happened in this book. Maybe the last few 75 pages, if that was where the book had started, I feel like I would have liked this 20 times more than literally the orgy that we start off with and all the, freaking sexist remarks and men thinking that they're better than women and I don't know. I think on Goodreads I did not give this a rating because I literally still just don't really know where I stand on it. I don't know that I would ever recommend this book to anybody. I don't know. I'm stuck between, I think I'm going to give this a 3-star. I'm so in the middle on this that I do think that this is going to just be a 3-star. If you liked this, good for you. I'm happy for you, but this was not for me. I'm curious about the second book just to see what people are talking about in that drastic switch. But if the second book doesn't hit for me, I really don't think this series is for me. I could see the potential in this. I could see the potential in where the story is gonna go. And I think that's why I'm willing to pick up the second book. But if I was solely basing it off of this book alone and not off of other people's opinions on it, I don't think I would continue the series at all, just based off this first book. But because a lot of friends of mine did read this and really enjoyed the series itself and not so much this specific book, I think I'm going to pick up the second book just to give it a try. But this is a ride. This was insane. This was, I don't even know. But I finished this and I think I'm going to give it 3 stars, and I am just really, really proud of myself for finally reading this and getting it off of my TBR, because this was on my TBR for way too long. I don't even remember when I bought this, but I think I've had this on my TBR for 2 years. So she is finally off my TBR, and that's another book down. That was on my March TBR, my physical TBR, my TBR for way too long, and I'm glad that one's finally done. But I did end up picking up last night Animal Farm by George Orwell, and I'm about 5 chapters in, and it's super short, super quick. I'm almost done with it. I'm probably going to finish it very soon. But this was just a change of pace. I've heard a lot of great things about this book. I did read George Orwell's 1984, and I really liked that. I read that in high school, though, so a long time ago, but I remember really enjoying that one. That one's more dystopian. So I've heard a lot of great things about this one, and it's so short, and like I said, I am 5 chapters in, and this is such an interesting take. The concept of the animals overtaking the farm, and this is just such an interesting read. And if you don't really know what this is about, it does say on the back, a farm is taken over by its overworked, mistreated animals. With flaming idealism and stirring slogans, they set out to create a paradise of progress, justice, and equality. Thus, the stage is set for one of the most telling satiric fables ever penned, a razor-edged fairy tale for grown-ups that records the evolution from revolution against tyranny from a totalitarianism just as terrible. When Animal Farm was first published, Stalinist Russia was seen as its target. Today, it is devastatingly clear that wherever and whenever freedom is attacked, under whatever banner, the cutting clarity and savage comedy of George Orwell's masterpiece has a meaning and message still ferociously fresh. And so far, I'm really enjoying this. It is satire, so it's supposed to be kind of like it's literally animals. We're following animals. So that, something about that is just so funny. And the pig on the front super makes sense because the pigs are the ones kind of leading this revolution. And it's just an interesting read so far, and such a change of pace. And like I said, it's reading kind of quick, surprisingly. It's not super complex or anything like that. It's reading pretty quickly. It's on Kindle Unlimited too, so if you get it on Kindle Unlimited, I didn't know at first, but it comes with the audio, so maybe you want to listen to it or read it on your Kindle, because the book is so tiny, so I feel I'm when I'm reading it, so I am going back and forth between reading it on the book and reading it on my Kindle. But so far this is a treat. I'm I'm interested to see how this is all going to wrap up in the end. Yeah, we're going to keep reading this one, and I'll be back with my thoughts when I'm done with it. Hey guys, I have finally finished Animal Farm by George Orwell, and honestly, this was just such a fun little quick read to get through. I've heard so many great things about this book. Honestly, this like frustrated me so much. There was so much gaslighting in this, where it was like, oh, we remember this, and they were like trying to like justify things that they knew were wrong, but still were trying to justify it. And it was like, oh no, you're misremembering. We said this. And they were like, really? They're like, trust us. And like they would. And honestly, this was just really sad. It's just kind of sad to see like how people who are more intelligent treat people who are less intelligent. And just because you lack intelligence doesn't mean that you should be taken advantage of. And this kind of hit hard. And Boxer did not deserve this. He did not. That's literally my review on Goodreads. He didn't deserve it. This book is frustrating. It's kind of sad, but there are a lot of parallels and it's very interesting to see. So if you haven't read this and you've been thinking about it, or I don't know, maybe give it a try. Maybe you'll like it. I'm settling on a 4-star for this. I did enjoy it, and it's very quick, very easy to read. And overall, this was just kind of a crazy concept. I think having the animals show a governmental system was so interesting. There were parts that were literally making me laugh only because I was like trying to picture the animals doing the work that they were doing, and I was like, how is this happening? Like, what are they using? And I don't know, like there was like horses that were supposed to be moving like these really big rocks, and I was just like, how are you doing that? I don't know. Like I said, a lot of emotions go into this, but overall I really did enjoy this, and 4 stars. I think you should read it. So that is it for this week's reading. I was able to get through 3 books on my TBR for March. So just to quickly go over all of the ones that we did read. We read This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. Love this one. Love Soledad's story. I think I gave this one a 4-star. Honestly, just getting to read Soledad's story was just really great, and I loved seeing her fall in love with herself and just like her empowerment and everything like that. It was just really great. The only thing I really didn't like was the romance in this. It was just too insta-lovey for me. Not that I didn't like Judah's character. I did like his character. I just didn't love how fast their romance felt. But overall, 4 stars. I did enjoy this. And I cannot wait for Hendrix's story because Hendrix is my favorite one out of all 3. And I just know her story is going to be funny, and I cannot wait to read it. But this one was good, 4 stars. I love this series. So if you haven't read it, you definitely should. The next book I read was Guild. As I've said, I don't even know. I am going to continue the series only because I posted on my Instagram about this, and lots of Instagram friends were telling me to continue with the series because it gets better. The second book, I'm giving the second book a chance. If it redeems this, then maybe I'll continue. But if I don't vibe with the second book, I really don't think I'm going to continue the series. But a lot of people are saying that it's very different. Like some people were saying that this is more like a prequel, and that just to keep going because the rest of the series is just completely different from what you get here. I'm holding on to that. So we will see how book 2 is. I will pick it up, I will read it, and I will give it a chance. But if I was basing it solely off of how I felt about this first book, I don't know. I don't think I would continue it. I did settle on a 3-star for this. I did find some entertainment in it, but I wasn't like bored. I wasn't like super disinterested. There were some parts that angered me, but I don't think it was terrible. So I'm settling on a 3-star. Maybe that'll change. I don't know. But for right now, 3-star. I don't know that I would recommend you reading the first one, but if you need to read the first one in order to understand the rest of the series, then I guess read it. But just be warned, this wasn't great. And then, of course, the last book we read was Animal Farm by George Orwell. Again, 4 stars. I highly recommend you read it just to understand the hype if you haven't. So this was good. But these were the 3 books I read for the week, and I think this was a pretty good week. I did get a little bit busy, so I wasn't able to read the 4th book that I had planned. I was left with Thursday Murder Club and Frederick Bachman's Beartown left on my TBR for March. So I might try and get to these before March is over, but I was able to get to these 3, which I think is really great. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've read either of these 3 books, let me know down below what your thoughts were, because I want to know what you guys thought of these books. If your thoughts are the same as mine, you know, if you loved any of these books and I didn't or something, like let me know. And if you've read Guild, please let me know what your thoughts are, because I need to know. I need to know. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I would love it if you would like, comment, subscribe, and I will hopefully see you guys in the next one. Bye!